And here we are once more back with a bit more Umineko. I think now I will be loud enough this way. I always felt like I'm a bit too quiet during these recordings, but we'll see. Maybe I'm now too loud. Now, no, don't start the opening. The opening always black screens me. That's horrible. Anyways, let's continue with episode 3. With the start of the investigation. It's finally time to figure out how the first Twilight came to be. We're starting with Battler's monologue, I assume. The adults' motivations aside, at least for us kids, these were supposed to be a fun couple of days when we cousins deepened our friendship. However, when we woke up, there was an unbelievably cruel reality waiting for us. I forgot that my headset was too loud. Oh yeah. Oh god. Jessica and George are gonna be completely destroyed. Yeah, George, Aniki and Jessica were crying over Shannon-chan and Kanon-kun's deaths. Right now, everyone who was alive was gathered in the lobby on the first floor of the guest house. Ooh, that's a stylish room. Is this the room where we usually gather, like, all the time, or is it a different room? I mean, it must be, right? Because usually we are in the lobby, but the lobby is where the dead body of Shannon is, so we only have the lobby this time. And there were 12 of us. Ah, yeah, 12, yeah. I can't count. 18 minus 6 are 12, not 13. Unbelievable, right? There were 18 up until yesterday. And one night, a third of that number had lost their lives. My agitation had finally settled down along with my lack of sleep from being woken up so early in the morning. I was beginning to feel like this was just a little unreal. I want to think this is some kind of bad dream. My cheap escapism kept telling me that was true over and over. Maria had gone back to sleep in the sofa Aunt Rosa was sitting in. Yeah, I don't think she would be too bothered. Rather than her having nerves of steel, she probably genuinely hadn't had enough sleep. Oh, you have a revolver. The adults were grasping members of grandfather's collection of short barrel rifles. Apparently a remnant from the period when he was obsessed by westerns. There were 4 identical guns altogether. Those had been split up between the 4 siblings, Uncle Kraus, Auntie Ava, my dad, and Auntie Rosa. Wasn't it the case that we only had one of these weapons in the last loops? Paper boxes filled with bullets lay on the table, and the siblings were silently loading their guns. Yeah.
こいつに触ってると今でも親父に触るなって怒鳴られてぶん殴られるような気がするぜ。ならよかったな。いくら触ってももう殴られることはない。
It's kind of sad how little they care about their dad being dead, but let's be honest, if he was my father, I don't know if I would be all that sad either.
信じられないわ。あのお父様が。
Yeah, okay.
最後を迎えるなんて。
She cares the most about anyone. Oops. Damn it. I want to click on the wrong. Okay.
金蔵さんに限って普通に床で亡くなるようなことはないだろうと思っていましたが。
He's probably the saddest, actually.
それにしてもむごすぎる。
He was in the boiler room, I assume?
ねえ。あれは本当にお父様なのかしら。私は別人の死体でごまかした替え玉を疑ってるんだけど。
いいえ、あれは間違いなくお父様です。
You're gonna break up the 6th finger, or no, not finger. What's the fingers on the foot? Toes. The 6th toe.
足の指をご覧になったでしょう。世間広しといえど、両足の指が6本の人間はそうはいませんよ。
That's, by the way, a very good moment to confirm if anyone here also has 6 toes.
でもいないとも言えない。
Yeah.
多子症は珍しくない病気だと聞いたわ。 大仕掛けの大好きな方なんでしょ？どこかで両足の指の数が自分と同じな遺体を手配したかもしれないわ。
He could have.
バカバカしい。そんなこと何のためにするというのですか？
One second, I need to remove an annoying pop-up.
普通の人にならわしもそう言うわ。
Also, rip Natsuhi, but you look stupid in that right now anyways. Like, your position is like... I'm sorry, Natsuhi, but you kind of look a bit ridiculous right now.
しかしあのお父さんや、
Yeah,
桐江さんの話も全くの口頭無形とは言い切れんのやないか。
he would pull off that kind of nonsense.
小死体は妹の確認が難しいという。だが歯型とか骨格とかいろいろ調べる方法はあるはずさ。
Well, as soon as the police
警
arrives,
察が調べれば
yeah.
一発で身元なんかわかるに決まってる。
問題は警察より先に電話技師が必要だという点だ。
Phone hunter down.
この台風じゃ船は来られないでしょうね。なら明日になるのかしら。
As soon as the typhoon is gone, yeah.
おそらく明日の9時にもう一度船が来てくれるでしょう。そこで警察に連絡できると思います。
Yeah.
私たちも、そして犯人も、つまりは台風が通り過ぎるまでこの島に閉じ込められたってわけね。
Correct. It's quite an interesting situation though, because the parents don't have anyone to suspect, right? Like, they all can cover for each other because they were together all night. The servants are all dead. They would never suspect their own children. So, Nandra's side, there's no one they would or could actually suspect here. Aside from Beatrice, obviously. Just from our parents' conversation, you could probably figure out the general gist, but let's explain the situation anyway. First, early that morning. In various places throughout the mansion, a total of 6 corpses of grandfather and all the servants had been found one after another. First, grandfather had been fed to the flames in the boiler room and was completely burnt. Okay. The servants were found dead, each locked in one of the various rooms throughout the mansion onto which magic circles had been drawn. Okay. The cause of death for the servants was uncertain, but according to Dr. Nando's diagnosis, there was a high likelihood that they had been stabbed by something like a spear, or possibly shot by a gun. It could be once again this stake gun, just as the stakes were pulled out this time. That was why the adults had started arming themselves with rifles. And what made the situation even more chaotic was that the telephone lines were out of order. It was unknown whether the lightning had caused them to break down or whether the culprit had destroyed them. Likely the culprit. In any case, contact with the outside world was broken off and we couldn't contact the police. So until tomorrow morning, when the typhoon would pass and the boat would come, we would have to protect ourselves. After all, Rokkenjima was now isolated by the typhoon, and just like how we were stuck on the island, so was the culprit. It seemed that the adults had stayed up the whole night, spending the whole time holding this family conference in the mansion's dining hall. And even so, this crime had occurred in the mansion. So right when the adults had been getting worked into a frenzy over money, the murderer had been killing under the same roof. Aunt Natsuhi said that they were strict on locking the doors and windows at night, and yet some suspicious person had entered the mansion. The adults had decided that the inside of the mansion was too large to be safe, so they had pulled out the guns and moved to the guest house where we had been. Ah, okay. That's why we have a new room now. Which brings us to the present. Oh no, this is the new room. Okay. Dr. Aniki and us others begged to see Shannon-chan's body, but the adults refused point blank, saying that we must not until the police arrived. It wasn't just because they had sealed all the rooms to preserve the scene. After all, the culprit who had killed 6 people had wandered about that mansion. With the Yoshimiya family right now, the mansion which should have been their home was likely a danger zone that an unknown murderer had entered. It makes sense, I mean, the mansion is vast. There are plenty of blind spots and dark places, and it's just too vast to guarantee absolute safety with this number of people. In contrast, the guest house is a much smaller building than the mansion. 2 stories tall, numbers of rooms? Well, about 10. Apparently it had originally been constructed to serve as a boarding house for when the island was to be turned into a resort. So it's easy to grasp the entire structure and easy to guarantee safety. That makes it a good place to hole up in. And that's an extremely high likelihood that this murder of 6 people is a game, because the culprit had proclaimed that in a letter. I heard that the Western-style envelope with the family crests, just like the one Maria claimed to have received for Beatrice yesterday, had been found in the boiler room where grandfather's corpse had been discovered. This was what the letter had said. So that there will be no misunderstandings. The game I seek is whether or not you can solve the riddle of the epitaph, not whether or not you can catch me. If you do not solve the riddle of the epitaph, the pitiful sacrifices will further increase in number. It would be more wise to spend your time solving the epitaphs than searching for me. Interesting. That's way more direct than in the previous loops. This makes me almost think that our killer actually knows about the previous loops. Like in previous ones, they've played the whole, oh, I am Beatrice, the Golden Witch. Go and solve my riddle, ha 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 ha. And this time they're like, you have been trying to catch me 2 times. You failed, you can't do it. Just stop already and solve the damn riddle. That's more like what it feels like right now. If no one can solve the riddle of the epitaph, no one will survive. If a person appears with skill enough to solve the riddle of the epitaph, I will give them all the gold of the Golden Land, the Ushumiya family headship, and all of my power. I was the one who succeeded the Ushumiya family headship from Kinzo, and I look forward to seeing who will receive the headship from me. Beatrice the Golden. This riddle of the epitaph was that thing. That strange epitaph written in the same place as the portrait of the witch, displayed in the hall of the mansion. Grandfather was the one who ordered that it be written, and the person who solved it, supposedly, be given the family headship or the hidden gold or something like that. Ever since it was first displayed there several years ago, all the relatives, despite making fun of it in the open, had been secretly challenging that riddle in private. However, up until today, no one had solved it. We had once again been told to solve that unintelligible riddle, and this time we had been threatened that if we didn't solve it, we would all be killed. If this wasn't a game, what would you call it? The bold opinion that we should search the premises for the culprit did come up once. However, there was a good chance that they were armed and there wasn't necessarily only one of them. And, while they might have been able to kill more than 6 people, they had stopped at 6. In the end, the opinion that we should avoid carelessly antagonizing the culprit and hole up in a safe place while we waited for the police to arrive won out. Okay, so neither solve the epitaph nor try to find the culprit, instead just go into defense mode. In other words, we will definitely see the second Twilight soon, because we aren't moving. To make clear, you can't hide out here. After the adults had carefully checked that the dorms and windows in the guest house were locked, they set up camp in the lobby. And as they fingered their guns to distract themselves from the tension, their expressions showed that they were already fatigued from this long day, which had still barely begun. I mean, they hadn't slept at all, so there was nothing that I could do. Now, all I could do was be taught how to use a gun, to prepare for the off chance that something would happen which led to an excess of guns. Yeah, that's the way. Just obediently stay there, me and the rest of you.
また最初は6人か。
Yep.
しかも今回はじい様と使用人が全部まとめてときたもんだ。
おそらくあの子は前回のゲームでのあなたの指し手を慎重に研究したのでしょう。
Yep. And since the servants are the main suspects from last route, we limited them this time.
そしてあなたが最初に疑うと高い確率で推定される駒を最優先で奪ったに違いありませんよ。
筋だな。前回も前々回も屋敷に精通しマスターキーを持ち歩く使用人たち全員は常に最高順位で疑わしい人物だった。
Yep.
前回のゲームの例えばジェシカの密室がいい例だ。使用人が犯人であることを認めさえすればあんなのは密室でも何でもない。
Yep.
ゆえにあの子はそこを真っ先に切りに来た。あなたがやがて逃げ込むであろう退路を真っ先に塞ぎに来たのでしょう。
ベアトはすでに赤でこの島には19人以上いないと宣言している。それはつまり諦めろってことだ。もう俺は18人の誰かを疑わざるを得ない。
あの子はその18人の駒を全て奪い切った上で存在しないはずの19人目として降臨し
That child will probably come at you by stealing the pieces for the 18 and ascending as a 19th person who shouldn't exist, so like...
あなたに自らが魔女であることを認めさせる手で来るでしょう。
Yeah. So at the end she appears as a witch, and since she is there, we have to accept that she is a witch because there are only 18 people
魔
here.
法を見せつけることで強引に屈服させる。恫喝的手法がもはや通じない以上、あの子にさせるのは成功法だけなのですから。
Yeah.
上等だ。もうハッタリは通用しねえぜ。
気をつけて。
Yep.
まやかしは魔女の最も得意とするところ。あの子が何を言おうと何を見せようと、
Never
あなた
trust
が
her.
信じる真実を決して脅かすことなどできないのです。それを忘れないで。
お、そう何度も同じ手が通用してたまるかってんだ。出てこいよベアトリーチェ。おっ始めようぜ。
すでに勝負のテーブルに着席しておるわ。わらわの手番もすでに終了しておる。
マダムを敵に回すことになるとは。
By the way, I looked Ronove up, but it's not much that I found on him. Like, he's a demon that's particularly known for favoring servants and guests, and is there to support people, and yeah, that makes sense.
厄介ですね、お嬢様。手の内をだいぶ読まれますよ。
構わん。お師匠様の指し手などすでに時代遅れの古典よ。恐るるに足りぬわ。
あなたが私の教えた古典以上の何をさせるのか期待していますよ、ベアトリーチェ。
Did I accidentally...
いいのか、バトラー。
I want to check something really quick. Did I put the voices down as well? They seem quite... Yeah. Oops. Let me make them a bit louder again. Wait, that's not the voices. Very professional. 3-6, no, the voices are still fine. Okay, no problem. Let's continue.
魔女を否定するそなたが魔女を軍師につけても。
くだらねえ挑発は無用だ。こいつは俺の相談役。いや、セコンドだ。ガチンコで殴り合うのは俺とお前だってことには何の変化もない。
Yes.
分かっておる。よちよちのお前には自転車にも補助輪が必要だろう。好きにするがよい。
Yeah, she's our mom.
さあ始めろ。
She's watching over
お
us.
前の手番だ。
事件現場の再構築から始める。
Fun, OSG.
バルギリア、
Okay.
早速頼む。
最初の遺体発見はシャノンから屋敷内の1階客間より発見されました。扉と窓は施錠され密室を構成していました。
Yeah, same old, same old.
ベアトに説明要求。密室の定義を再確認。
Yeah,
密
please.
室の定義は内外の出入りが一切隔絶された室内を指す。
Yes.
当然内外からの一切の侵入脱出はおろか干渉もできない。 それは包括的に隠し扉の否定、外部干渉の余地一切の否定を含む。
Denial of hidden doors, as well as a margin for interference from the outside.
以後この定義をベアトリーチェの密室定義と呼称する。
Yeah, makes sense.
細部確認。
I feel like in a robot. Starting Ava.
外部干渉の余地の定義とは？
Yes, that would be nice.
外部から釣り糸やら長くて細い棒やらなどを使って直接的に干渉するあらゆる余地だ。つまり扉や窓にはそのような小細工を混ぜる隙間すらもないと判断せよ。
Okay, so we can't use these kinds of things.
どうかな？仮に隙間がなくてもリモコンなどの電波は干渉できるはずだぜ。
Technically?
よかろう。電波などそれに類する遠隔操作技術も干渉不可能であると定義に追加する。
客間には内線電話もあるぜ。それと連動した仕掛けは遠隔操作にはならねえのか？
電話はすでに使用不能だろうが。ああ、もう面倒だ。それも含めようぞ。直接間接のあらゆる方法で室外よりの密室内への干渉は不可能だ。
声やノックは密室に入らずに外部から干渉できるはずだぜ。
A voice unknown so should be able to interfere from the outside without entering the room, right?
密室であっても声をかけることやノックは不可能ではなかろう。
Yeah.
意思疎通の可否は密室の定義に反しない。
つまり外部との伝達方法までは途絶していると定義できないんだな。
そうなります。
了解したぜ。
Okay.
シャノンちゃんの客間はそのベアトリーチェの密室定義を満たすってんだな。
その通りだ。
Okay. Good to know.
密室定義了解した。
So, no physical interference from the outside, no special tricks, remotes or anything, even though I doubt that they had the necessary technology. Ah, they had the necessary technology. At least for some remote controls and stuff. Not too specific, but at least as well.
バルキリア、続けてくれ。
はい。シャノンの遺体はマスターキー1本を所持。
Assume so.
発見した親族がこれを回収。
ベアトに副賞要求。今回のマスターキーの本数は？
6?
前回と同じ。各使用人が1本ずつ
Okay,
で
5
5
for
本
each
だ。
servant.
ってことは密室にはまだならねえってわけさ。マスターキーはまだ4本余ってる。シャノンちゃんを殺害後4本の鍵のいずれかで施錠するだけの話だ。
その通りでございます。そして見つかったのはマスターキーだけではありませんよ。
Okay.
はい。
So a parlor key as well?
遺体のすぐ傍らに紋章入りの養鶏封筒が。
Okay.
中に手紙はなく2階客室の鍵が入っていました。
Ah, okay. Oh god, let me write that down. I'm gonna use a paper this time because last time it caused the screen to go black if I go back and forth, so I'm writing it down now. So this is the parlor, right? The parlor, Shannon's body. Letter with key to second floor room. A second floor guest room.
2階客室の鍵。それは2階客室の扉をマスターキー以外に唯一開けることができる鍵だという定義でいいのか？
I assume so?
問題ないぞ。そしてマスターキーと違いその1本しかない。
Yeah.
つまりある特定の部屋を開けるにはマスターキー5本に加えその1本しかないというわけです。
Okay.
これはつまり次は2階客室へ行けというメッセージなのか？
Yep.
となると大人たちは2階客室へ移動したな。
Yep.
はい。
So we were first in the parlor. Now, second floor guest room. Second.
2階客室の扉もまた施錠され、魔法陣が描かれていました。
The usual.
親族はシャノンの遺体脇より入手したその鍵によって開錠。
Yes.
室内にて熊沢の遺体を
Okay,
発見。
Kumasawa. Let me put some lines in between. That room key.
室内は密室。定義はベアトリーチェの密室定義に準拠。熊沢はマスターキー1本を所持。
As
これを
expected.
親族が回収。そして
Da-da-da.
シャノン同様に遺体の傍らに養鶏封筒を発見。中には3階控室の鍵が。
Third floor servant quarters.
親族は3階控室へ移動。
そして3階控室の扉にも魔法陣でさらに施錠されていて、
はい。室内にてゴーダの遺体を発見。
Third floor servant room. Goda.
室内は密室。
Yeah, as
ベ
usual.
アトリーチェの密室定義に準拠。
All as usual.
ゴーダはマスターキー1本を所持。これを
Expected.
親族が回収。そしてこれまで同様に紋章入りの養鶏封筒を発見。中より2階貴賓室の鍵が。
Second floor VIP. So let's go to second floor VIP.
親族は2階貴賓室へ移動。
なんなんだこいつは。てめえ何を企んでやがる。
そう睨むほどのものでもあるまい。密室ではあるが、それを開けるマスターキーはまだ何本もある
Yeah,
では
but we all know where these those are, right?
律儀にマスターキー以外の固有の鍵も進呈している。
気に入らねえ展開だぜ。だが展開は読めてきた。
Yep.
この調子で6人続いてくってわけか。
はい、その通りです。2階貴賓室にて源氏の遺体を発見。
Genji, yeah.
マスターキー1本を回収。地下ボイラー室の鍵を発見。
Oh, interesting. You want to send me on to Canon, do you?
地下ボイラー室へ移動。地下ボイラー室にて金蔵の遺体を発見。
Yep.
礼拝堂の鍵を発見。
Okay, and the chapel key. Ah, that's quite interesting. Once again, we have the chapel. Okay, so sixth chapel canon. Okay.
礼拝堂に移動。
And there's the pala
礼
key.
拝
I'm
堂に
so-
てカノンの遺体を発見。マスターキー1本を回収。1階客間の鍵を発見。
Yeah, pala, yeah. And there's a pala key. Okay, so we have a closed circle.
以上で6名の遺体発見の再構築を終了します。
Okay, we have 6 rooms, all locked by each other's keys. Technically speaking, the order of where which key isn't even necessary as long as we assume that the servant is involved, because we can always just use the master key instead. So the keys might as well not have been there. It literally doesn't matter unless Kinzo is the one who did it. Because he then would have had to start with I think with Genji in the second floor VIP room and then work his way backward to Canon. Something like that. I can't do it in my mind right now. Something like that, but technically we always have the master key, so the second key doesn't matter really. It's the only... Well, even Kinzo doesn't have the master key either. Yeah. So it only matters in Kinzo's case. Otherwise, they always have the master key, so all that we need to know is each servant has the key that can open this room in their own room. And where which key is... It's the same game as during the second episode.
補足です。金蔵の遺体の傍らで発見された養鶏封筒には礼拝堂の鍵と一緒に手紙が同封されておりました。
Threw something on the ground by accident.
手紙の内容はすでにご確認の通り、
Yes.
気分の謎を解くよう改めて催促する内容です。
Yeah, once again, it doesn't matter where the letter itself was, it could have been left there at any time.
ってことはなんだよこれ。最後のカノン君のところに一番最初のシャノンちゃんの客場の鍵があったってことは。
We have a closed loop.
密室が6つ数珠つなぎになってるってことなのか。
Technically, yes.
その通り。
Well, it's only partially correct. As I said, that, for example, this is, let's say, Shannon's room with one of the master keys. The master key can unlock each and every room here, so it doesn't actually matter.
6つの密室が数珠つなぎになっておる。
Yeah, superficially.
それぞれを解錠する鍵はそれぞれ隣り合う密室によって閉じ込められている。
Yeah, no matter how you go about this, it has to be one room is the starting point from which the others are all then locked. It doesn't matter if we all lock these first and then this one last, or the ones in this order. It doesn't matter, one of these rooms, like it isn't necessary that all 6 are locked rooms, it is only that one of these is a locked room, and that's the problem.
つまり6つの密室が1つの巨大密室を形成し、その中に全てのマスターキーと固有鍵全てを閉じ込めてしまっているのだ。ちなみに6つの部屋の扉や窓はいずれも普通。
Okay, yeah.
オートロックのような鍵を使用せず施錠できるような仕掛けは存在しない。
Yeah, figured.
どうだよ、綺麗なもんだろ。
It's quite beautiful, I have to admit.
ですからお嬢様、そのあたりに品がございません。
When Ronove rebuked Beato stuck her tongue at him shamelessly.
悪い悪い。ついついバトラと遊んでると上機嫌になってしまうのでな。それでバトラ、お前の指し手はどうなんだよ。特に思いつかないんなら、わらわがヤギたちに遺体を運ばせて。
Yeah, no, not necessary.
魔法にて全ての扉を封じるところを特別に見せてやってもいいんだぜ。
好きにしろ。お前の主張する魔法説として拝聴しとく。だが俺はお前の主張とは全く異なる人間説をお前の主張に一切干渉されることなく主張することができる。
Exactly.
それはつまりお前のざれ言に耳を貸す必要は何もないってことさ。
Thank you, that's a nice way of putting it.
好きに魔法の杖でも振るって七色の魔法で扉を閉めるところでも実演してろってんだ。隣でそのうちガマの油と万能包丁の実演も始まるぜ。バルギリア、事件現場を再構築。
Yeah,
穴を探すぜ。 全員は間違いなく死亡してるのか。誰かが死んだふりしてんならこんなの密室でも何でもね。
南條は全員の死亡を確認。ただし誤審率の否定は悪魔の証明により不可能。
Yes.
つまり誰かが生きているのを南條が見逃した可能性をゼロにすることはできません。
来たな。悪魔の証明か。だがそいつをぶった切る剣は存在する。
なんだよあいつら。わらわをのけ者にして楽しそう
Aww.
だな。
See, she's like a little puppy who wants attention.
わらわは対戦者であるぞ。少しは構えというのに。
本来チェスを対戦するのにあたり相手とのコミュニケーションは不要です。
But what's the fun in that?
お嬢様は指し手以外のコミュニケーションによって煙に巻いていた。それに惑わされないということはつまりこういうことなのでしょう。
It's quite cute how Dad and our newfound mom are taking care that their little kids have a nice match of chess while having fun with each other. Yeah. Aww.
なぜだか納得がいかぬ。
お嬢様はチェスを挑んでいるはずではないのですか。
それもそうだが。
Aww. Bertie's puffed out her cheeks as though saying, I don't know why, but I don't like it.
警察未介入の現場につき人間側からの検証は限界があります。
Yeah.
厳密な死亡確認のため復唱要求することを推奨します。
Yes, please.
よっしゃ、ここで叩くぜ。復讐要求だ。被害者6人は全員死亡している。
お嬢様、復讐要求が出ておりますよ。
おい、ぼんやりするな。復讐拒否か。ここからが戦闘開始だ。
Can I hear that again? Wait a second. Can I hear that again? Huh? This is the voice line type on this one. Take off the center, trying to. Oh, not yet. I need to go back
お
there.
ったとったすまぬすまぬ。いいぞ応じるぞ。
Okay, now I can, right? Come on, give it to me. Ah, goddammit.
金蔵源氏、シャノン、カノン、ゴーダ、熊沢の6人は死亡している。
Okay, now.
おったとったお
Okay, enough playing around. Kinzo, Genji, Shannon, Kanon, Goda, and Kumasawa. These 6 are all dead. Okay. Okay, that's good to know. So, unless they somehow committed suicide, they're at least not alive.
何をぼんやりしてるんだか。よし、まずは一つ引き出したぞ。死んだふりって王道はまず否定されたな。
Yes.
もはや手加減などせぬぞ。好きなだけ来るがよい。次々斜め切りにしてくれるわ。
続けて復讐要求。6つの部屋には誰も隠れていない。俺たちが認識していない人物の存在を否定してみせろ。
大鶴。6つの部屋には誰も隠れていない。
Okay, this time there is no one hiding in the 6 rooms. Okay, there is no one. This does not mean human or anything. We do not have to care about the definition. There is no one hiding in the rooms. No one hiding. Even more important, we know for certain that all 6 of the people that died are dead. This means they are completely out of the equation for anything that happens in the future.
よし、これで6人だけの缶詰は確定だな。
Oops. Damn it. I did it again.
そして死んだふりもない。
ど
Yes.
うするどうする。人間にはもはやどうしようもないであろうが。 おとなしくわらわが素敵な魔法で鍵を自由自在にするところをひざまずいて拝見しろよ。
How could you do this? The most obvious option that's still left is someone somehow committed suicide. How? Who knows? The next option is someone inside these rooms wasn't dead when the adults came. In other words, the adults came, checked room for room, and then investigated one of the corpses that wasn't actually dead, then killed the corpse during the investigation, betraying them. So that there was like a deal between them. Hey, you do that and I'll help you later, and then whoever did that betrayed them and killed the person anyways. So the person died during the discovery, but not during the actual murder. Thirdly, somehow the whole part with interacting with voices or some other sound that can be sent inside the room, some signal that activates. But I wouldn't know just yet what that could be. Alternatively, we would need something. That could put some sort of timer. And what could the timer do in that case? Let's continue for now.
寝言言ってろ。さらに復唱要求だ。6人の死亡は即死である。
即死？ほう。どういう意味だそれは。
犠牲者の一人が瀕死の状態で部屋まで逃げ延び、内側から施錠して密室を作った後、息絶えた可能性もあるという。
密室殺人の古典ですか。致命傷を与え、しばらく後に死ぬことを確実とした場合、犠牲者が殺人者から逃れるために部屋にこもり、施錠後に死亡したなら、予期せずして密室が構成されることはあり得ます。
Correct.
その可能性を否定するには、赤き真実にて6人は即死であったことを宣言する必要がありますよ。
よかろうよかろう。赤き宝刀にて切り伏せよう。
Instant death.
6人は即死であった。
Instant death. Still doesn't disprove the part about suicide or a later betrayal.
即死とはつまり攻撃を受けて即座に行動不能になったという意味だ。
Yes.
まあ完全な意味での死亡には数秒もしくは数分をかけたかもしれん。
Yes, correctly. Their bodies were technically still functioning in some ways, but not in the ways that they could do anything.
だがいずれにせよ自らの意思で何かの行動を取ることは完全に不可能であった。その意味において即死と断言できる。
ここまでは古典の確認だ。お前との密室対決はここからだぜ。犯人は内側にいないなら外にいる。そして外からどうにかして彼らを殺したんだ。
That would be one option.
何を血迷うか。密室イコール外部からの殺害は不可能であろうが、故に魔法殺人しかありえない。
いいや違うね。殺人は現に起こった。イコール密室ではないが正しいのさ。
Correct.
お前がどう煙に巻こうと、これは断じて密室じゃない。密室に見えるだけのまがいものだ。
しかしバトラー様、
Yeah, even if they are killed inside, the keys are
室
still
内には
an
犠牲者しかおらず、それ以外の人物は室内には存在しておりません。
issue. That was already stated.
そしてお嬢様の密室定義により、外部からの遠隔殺人も明確に否定されておりますよ。
Yes.
待ちな。遠隔殺人の定義は広大だぜ。何も部屋の外から釣り糸を引っ張って 室内の犠牲者を絞め殺したとか、そんなのばかりじゃねえ。
Nope.
例えばトラップだって立派な遠隔殺人だ。
Sure.
トラップ？ほう、それは何か？
What is that?
一例だが、彼らにあらかじめ決められた部屋に入り、内側から施錠して自ら密室を作り出すように指示を出す。そして室内には彼らがそれとは知らないトラップが仕掛けられており、それによって彼らは殺された。どうだ、これなら矛盾は生じない。
Sure.
問題ありません。現状と整合します。
当方も問題ありませんよ。お嬢様の密室定義にも抵触しません。
なんだその間抜けな推理は。いずれの室内にも不審なものは発見されなかったぞ。そのトラップはどのような形状なのか、どこに隠してあってどう作動したというのか、それを6人分、客間、客室、機械室、貴賓室、ボイラー室、礼拝堂の6つで説明してみせよ。どうだ、できまい。
I don't think so.
反論拒否。それを説明する必要はねえ。にもかかわらず俺の主張は揺るがない。
なんだと？
Maybe we should have thrown something suspicious, right? How does it not
ベア
hurt
ト
your
リ
claim?
ーチェ、悪魔の証明
Yeah, I
ですよ。
see. I see what you mean, yeah.
そのトラップの形状を説明できないことがすなわち
We are fighting with twisted logic here.
トラップ否定の理由にはなり得ない。
Yes.
うまい。強引ながら見事な一手です。
こいつすっかり手慣れおって。
チェック。発見できていない殺人トラップ X によりこの密室殺人は成立可能だ。
赤き真実にてそのチェックを切る。
Okay.
6人はトラップで殺されてはいない。
トラップの定義は
Yeah, please have definition.
あれだ、犠牲者が勝手に引っかかって発動するやつとかだ。それだけじゃない。リモコンで発動するとかタイマーで発動するとか、そういうのもろもろ全部含めたやつだ。
仕掛け人が直接関与することなしに殺人を遂行できる全ての仕掛けという定義でよろしいかと思いますよ。
Yeah.
どうだ、
She's so out of it.
切り返したぞ。人間にこの密室が破れてたまるか。
お前も勝つために必死だな。
Yep.
何？
Okay, no traps. Wait. One second. All devices can carry out a murder without the direct participation of the person who set it up. So there could be still some sort of trap that would be activated by the person who set it up via, for example, a sound signal.
どういう意味だ。
お前は自分の存在を俺に認めさせようと必死。今まで俺は一方的にお前にいじられてるだけだと思ってた。
Yeah, if you deny her,
しかし
she lost.
お前もまた俺の切り返しに必死に抗い、俺はよ今ようやく実感してるぜ。
This isn't torture inflicted on me, but whether I'll submit or not.
俺とお前の対等な戦いなんだ。さて面白くなってきたぜ。6人は密室で死に、部外者は中に誰もいない。
Yeah.
そして外部からはちょっかいは一切出せず、これまでの俺だったらこれはもう魔法の仕業しかありえねえだろうと思うだろうよ。このタイミングでお前におかしな魔法を実演されたら、そりゃ屈服もしてただろうさ。これがお前の得意戦術だ。俺の指し手を全て迎撃しきり、俺が万策尽きたと膝をつく。心の防御力が弱るその瞬間に、これ見よがしにおかしな魔法を見せつけて一気に勝負を持っていく。
Pretty much, yeah.
昔から短気な性分で勝ちの目が見えると焦る悪い癖は相変わらずです。
お嬢様はお預けができない性分ですから。
うるさいうるさいぞバトラの手番であるぞ。そなたが進めたトラップの駒はわらわが赤にて切り捨てた。次は何を繰り出すのか存分に来るがよい。
おっ、トラップまで潰され、一見こいつは完全な密室犯罪に見える。だからこそここでチェス盤をひっくり返すぜ。
来たな、そなたの得意技よ。
Yeah, it hasn't worked very well so far, but one day.
何をどうひっくり返せるというのか見せてみろ。
ああ、見せてやる。いかにして密室の中の6人を外から殺すかを考えるんじゃない。ああ、ダメだダメだ、全然ダメだ。
Yeah, it's useless, all useless.
そうさ、どうやって外から殺すかじゃない、どうやって中で死んで密室にするかなんだ。そうさ、これが答えなのさ。犠牲者6人の中に犯人が含まれていたと考えれば、この密室は極めて容易に説明できる。
Suicide.
何バカな、その6人は死んだとはっきり。
死んだのは6人、犠牲者は殺された5人、もう1人は自殺だったと仮定すれば、この密室は打ち破れる。
確かに犯人が最後の密室に自ら入って施錠し、自らの命を絶てば、この連鎖密室は成立します。
犯人の自殺、普通では考えられない一手ですが、考えられないから存在しないは存在しない。そしてその動機を立証する義務は彼にない。
Correct. Wait, what? Hope we didn't have a black screen right now because I closed the... I put away the OBS right now, but it's on here.
魔女とのチェスでしか使えない実に力強い一手。
まあ動機がないとは言い切れませんね。例えば金蔵は余命があとわずかと宣告されています。残りわずかの生を惜しまず自らの死をメッセージとしたという動機づけも不可能ではないかもしれません。
Yeah, or the killer was in love with someone else and did it for them in their name.
お嬢様、こちらの手番ですよ。
まさか死者の尊厳を踏みにじってまで犯人を生み出してくるとはな。
Yeah, but still has no suicide.
血も涙もない男よ。
死者を犯人に仕立て上げるこの非道なる一手は、前回のゲームでお前がカノン君を陥れた一手だ。この手でお前に一矢報いることがゲームは異なるが、あの時のカノン君への手向けだ。今俺はあの時のカノン君の無念を晴らした。
Cute.
ここで手を休める義理はありませんよ。全員の死因が自殺でないことを確認すべきです。復讐の要求を推奨します。
Yes.
ああ、だが自殺なんて甘い言い方じゃおいでやと、こいつで詰めだ。復讐要求、6人は全員他殺である。
Yeah.
これは痛いですね。
Good one.
ああ、どうしたよ。6人が殺されたんだろう。最も単純な一番最初の前提の確認でしかないぜ。復讐できねえのか。
復讐を拒否する。
That one's interesting. The murders were all homicides. Decline. Very interesting.
理由は特にない。
ここでの復讐拒否は リザインと同じ意味だぜ。チェックメイト。6人の中に犯人がいて、密室構築後に自殺を図った。以上だ。
待って。いや、言う望み通り赤を行使するぞ。6人は誰も自殺していない。
That's important difference. She used a different wording here. None of the 6 committed suicide. Red. Okay, now we just need to figure out what's the difference between something that isn't a suicide and what is a homicide. One second. Okay. Let's take a look. Homicide is a general act of one human being killing another person. It is a broad term that describes the cause of death, does not automatically mean a crime took place. Unlawful killing, which includes murder. Lawful killing, such as $7. Okay. The general act of one human being killing another person. Suicide is the act of intentionally causing one's own death. It involves self-directed injuries, behavior with the specific intent to die as a result of the action. If you or someone you know is going through a hard time, having thoughts of suicide, blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. Suicide hotline, if any of you, no? It's important. Don't. I don't know how to say this without sounding stupid. Like, don't kill yourself. Sorry, I don't know how else to express myself. Okay. Let's close that one and open that one. Not quite. You change the definition.
切り返したぞ。切り返した。
You're really desperate, aren't you?
なんだよ。言えるじゃねえかよ。
No. She didn't say what you asked.
だがおかしいな。なんであんなに狼狽してるんだ。
気のせいよ。わらわも今回は必死でな。そうそう心にゆとりもないのだ。深く気にするでない。
要求した副賞が改ざんされていますよ。ごまかされないように。
You're so cute. And you can actually see her properly. That's nice. I'm happy about that.
ダメみたいですよ。お嬢さん。
It was useless, all useless.
そうか。6人全員他殺とは言ってない。
Yes.
6人全員自殺にあらずとこいつは言い換えた。
Okay, so homicide is one person killing another. Suicide is intentionally killing yourself. So what would be in between that? Either something non-human killing a person, or you unintentionally killing yourself. The question is, how would you unintentionally kill yourself?
ということは他殺でも自殺でもない人間が混じっているということだ。
Yes, exactly.
ああ、わかったぜ、わかったわかった。
Yeah, but how do you kill yourself?
これが真相だ。6人の中に潜む犯人 X は5人を殺害後密室を構築した。
Yes.
そしてそこから何かの方法で逃れるか隠れるかするつもりだったんだ。
Yes.
ところが事故った。本人すらも想定しない理由により事故死し、自ら望まない密室殺人を構築したんだ。これで決まりだぜ、ベアトリーチェ。チェックメイトだ。
くそー。その程度でわらわが追い詰められると思うか。この程度でリザインを叫ぶものか。その愚かなチェックメイト、わらわの赤き砲塔にて何度でも叩き切ってくれようぞ。6人の中に事故死は
Yes, I didn't quite catch the Beatrice. Could you repeat that? Alright, 1 second.
失礼
Could you repeat that, Beatrice? I need to listen again. Yes, I agree. So the relationship between these 4 is great. It's so much fun to see all these interactions between them. But that's interesting. Beato wanted to deny part of the accident theory. So, and Ronove stopped her. Interesting.
当方ここで作戦タイムを所望いたします
It's, there's something that he can't let her, that she can't say because otherwise it would immediately tell what actually
し
happened.
ばしのご猶予をお許しください
正当な要求です。問題ないかと。
おう強化するぜ。俺も今まで散々そいつをもらってる。
Yeah, sure. You can have some relaxed time to
今度は
Beato.
お前がそれを使う番だぜ。
ありがとうございますさあお嬢様こちらへそして心の中で静かに数字を100数えましょう
He's trying to say Ronove, isn't she? As Beato grew thoroughly panicked and agitated, Ronove had quickly covered her mouth with his hand and suspended the game. Nah, there we go. He then pulled Beato away in the name of a strategy conference.
くそあの悪魔の執事め。ベアトが熱くなってる今が追い込む絶好のチャンスだったんだが。
Beato normally behaves elegantly, but she actually has a really short temper and gets mad easily. Elegantly? Normally? Who are we talking about? Her normal intelligence falls silent when she starts getting agitated. Yes.
ロノウェは冷静ですね。おそらくあの子に頭を冷やす時間を与えたのでしょう。あの子はあなたのチェックを外すことに意地になり、
Yeah.
いくつかの大駒をやすやすと見捨てようとしていた。第一の番など初戦は前哨戦。あの子は引き際を誤りかけた。
つまりどういうことだ。俺のチェックメイトは成立したのか。
あの子は赤を宣言しかけていました。チェックメイトにはまだならないでしょう。しかしおそらく頭を冷やしたあの子はリザインを宣言するに違いありません。
Yeah.
まさかあの負けず嫌いがか。
ええ、負け戦は1秒でも早く兵を引き上げ、いかに損失を減らすかが肝要です。
She nearly gave up her game.
難しいのはそれが負け戦であるかどうかを測ること。あの子の執事はそれを冷静に判断したようです。
やれやれ。つまりあと一息のところで逃げられたってわけだな。ビシッと俺がチェックメイトを決めてとどめを刺すって流れには。
でもこれはあなたの勝ちだと判断してよいでしょう。向こうはギリギリで大きな損失を踏みとどまったようですが、それでもかなりのダメージを与えたに違いありません。その傷の深さはあの子の狼狽ぶりから十分理解できたはずですよ。
だな。これ以上いじめたら泣き出しちまいそうだぜ。
She might. As we talked, Ronove returned with Beato, who wore a meek expression. She didn't have the same bold smile as usual, but it looked like the blood wasn't rushing to her head anymore.
よう、お前の手番だぜ。次の一手は決まったかよ。
デザインだ。この場はお前に勝ちを譲る。
Beato told me that frankly. It seemed as though she had taken a far-sighted view, as though saying, if you want to laugh, then laugh. It was a bit of a buzzkill, and I lost my desire to attack her further.
お前がリザインしたってのは結局のところ俺の説もお前の説も互いが相手を否定できないイーブンって意味だからな。
Yeah.
負けってよりは引き分けって意味で受け取っとくぜ。
You're trying to butter her up.
気持ち悪い同情などいらない。
Yeah.
この場はわらわの負けだと言っておる。そなたには雨に濡れた犬をさらに棒で叩く趣味があるというのか。
ねえよ、お前と違ってな。
Even though she ridiculed me horribly when I showed signs of defeat, she was so pathetic when it was her turn. I thought of her as a pretty unfair person, but decided to act with dignity as the winner and accepted. Beato had resigned. That was the only result of the first twilight. Beatrice couldn't counter my move of one of the 6 was the culprit and that person died in an accident. No, she probably could have countered it, but because of some strategic decision she had given up. I felt less like I had won and more like she had escaped me one step from victory. Yeah, but we're close there. We might get somewhere on that one if we think about it a bit more. In chess against witches, it is possible to battle onward solely using pieces called eggs, which don't need explanation. Thanks to the Devil's Proof, I can create as many strange fictions as I want and use them to fight in the argument. But that's only within the context of chess with a witch. In our human world, such an abstract story can't explain anything. The first twilight today was a chain of 6 locked rooms. It certainly may be possible for a human. Beato hadn't been able to completely deny everything. However, I don't have a clue who committed the crime, why, and how they actually did it. I shouldn't say this having won, but I get the feeling that I would have felt less muddled if I had just been told right out by Beatrice that it was completely impossible for a human. Although I hide behind these abstract pieces called eggs, I couldn't deny that some kind of unthinkable, creepy intention had definitely pervaded this mansion. And here we are. Once more, we have reached a checkpoint. Yes, as I said, I will just do it one checkpoint at a time from now on in order to not overdo it, and this one is already roughly a bit 1 hour 5 minutes long. So I think that's a okay length. As I explained in a previous one, I am writing my bachelor's at the moment, so I'm not having infinite time at my hands. I'm recording this one close before midnight, as you can see. And I don't want to go on too long because I have to get out of bed tomorrow again to get to work. And so I'm ending it for today. Once again, this was more of a murder mystery theorizing round, and we've got a lot of good stuff this time. I will try to think of a way that someone could die during this, but not due to an actual accident, but something similar to an accident. And then maybe we can figure something out from there. But what it does seem to tell us is that one of these 6 people is at least involved in the murder, which wouldn't be shocking, as the servants or Kinzo seem to be quite likely candidates. But this would also mean that the killer of the other 5 might already be dead, and that we then have the second Beato killer also doing their thing. So I'll still assume that there will be 2, or I don't think it's likely, but maybe 3. I would say 2, but maybe 3 killers, and that at least one of them is dead at this point, which would mean that one of the killers is among the servants or Kinzo, and the other one is among the family members or Nanjo. This would fit quite well with the previous episodes as well, but I think maybe the second Twilight will give us something more. I'm still curious if we will get something different from locked rooms every time. Because right now it feels like as soon as we can solve one locked room, we can pretty much solve any locked room. So I wonder if there will be more confusing incidents that go outside of the locked room formula. But for now, have a good night, sleep tight, and don't let the bedbugs bite. Bye bye.